to this new venue called the Base.
Okay.
The Base, yeah. Started in the Base opened in '87, and then we moved our afternoon gig there. Yeah, we weren't allowed. What would happen was for us hip hoppers, the matinee was the highlight of the week. Then at night we would hang out and walk around in the townships like normal, be breakdancing on corners, and because you couldn't get out, we never had cars, and we couldn't afford to go to nightclubs. It was too expensive or whatever. Or we never had the clothes even. Let's put it that way.
You take trains home.
Yeah, always we would take 10 o'clock trains into town, stuff like that. We would do it, and but at the Base, I think things mushroomed in a big way. The thing is about T-Zers and the Base. The DJ that I had to beg and plead to play there, he was pretty clued up on dance music and hip hop. His name was Llewellyn Gabriel. His DJ name was like the Big L because he was quite a big guy. And he was older than us. He was already working. He got married, and we were still kids. And he gave us the scope. So what happened was, I'll tell you what happened. Sort of, not simultaneously. You see, before breakdancing came out, the freestyle dancing was already in clubs. Where people would go to clubs and it would be like people would go to clubs and they'll dance and but normally at a club there would be like say 5% of people that really get down. They're serious about their dancing. Some moves and Michael Jackson moves, whatever. Other people would just be normal, like we would call it sturvy, they can't really move. So with breakdancing, it really brought out, the spirit in you. So while we had this dancing happening in clubs to disco music, to dance music, and then breakdancing came, and then, but then also from '86, after, we were already playing hip hop at T-Zers, this new music came out, called house music, and made by DJs, and the first record we ever got was Music is the Key. And it was a house record that actually had rap in it. It had singing in it and it had rap in it. But what had happened was because T-Zers was so unique in, like chic style people would come there like, but this is not a club, it looks like a damn warehouse. Where's the lights, where's the mirrors? We never had none of that stuff. We were like, the sound system's more important than anything else. So what happened was yes, there was now the b-boy set that I was doing, but then Llewellyn was now buying this house music. So we had that agreement. If I see a house record in a shop, I'm going to keep it for you, and if you see a hip hop record for me, so we started doing that, and we had friends, one guy, a friend of ours, in our crew that moved. He was a white guy. We had a white guy in our breakdancing crew, and he moved to London, and he also started DJing. So he would send us records, house and hip hop. And what happened at the club was now the freestyle dancing, the Jack era started. Let me put it to you that way, from '86. So there was this jacking dancing going on.
What's that?
Music, a dance that fitted with the music. So there's a term called jacking house. Today it's called today jacking house, but way back in the day everything was about like I'll tell you what it was. If you played the hottest house records, you were known as the jack master. Do you understand? So you played the music for them to dance to, you see. So at T-Zers now we had this big following now. Obviously there were more people into normal music, But then this freestyle dancing thing blew up. So our matinee was known as the place for dancers. You didn't come there to sit. You just walked in and you were dancing. And you know what it was? It was very inspirational because Sunday through to Friday, you would be working on your moves. Besides now, Sunday being church for the Christians and Friday being mosque for the Muslims, you knew you were rehearsing on your moves. You're going to make sure I'm doing 28 spins or whatever. You understand what I'm saying? So, it really inspired a whole generation of youth to work.
So that on Saturday.
So Saturdays you could show off your stuff, you know? And so it really, by the time we arrived at the base now, you know, so it was already now 2-3 years of experimenting with this hip hop in the club, 15-minute Rozzano, that you said 15 minutes, then it started growing, you know? And Llewellyn started getting more music. By the time we had T-Zers, at the base, the hip hop set was an hour long. It was the home, the base, you know, it was
And
the
people would
meeting
come from
place,
all over to.
you know. One friend of mine from Maddenburg said to me, "Hey, Rozzano, there was no black people in the base." I was like, When I would go play in Shabins, in Cooks or Kailicha, and the Totis come up to me, "Oh, Rozzano, whoa, blast from the past." Then they're like, "Remember how we used to travel from the train back home from the base?" And I'm like, "Where's Arthur to hear this now?" You know, like, and it's the truth. Like, we were so mixed, man. There was white people. And the thing was, is that, I don't know if I have to now, you know, the so-called colored style of speaking, like everybody sort of land up sounding the same. So you didn't even know that O was from Gooks, because a whole contingent of people got up at Maddenburg station, Nyanga, and those went to Maddenburg and the others went to Gooks or Philippines. You're like, what? Like, you never really knew, you know? And, but it was incredible. By T-Zers we had now blossomed. After T-Zers experimental, then we moved to the base. A lot of people didn't come to the base after T-Zers because the base had a different feel in its decor. It was more Afrocentric. Similar to T-Zers. T-Zers was more in industrial electro look, whereas the base had this Afrocentric, natural look, paintings of potential elephants on the walls and zebras looking things and Afro everything. You know, it wasn't that element. People like Amapondo and Robbie Jansen, those elders, they played there at night. So we were only the matinee where the kids were, you know. But the thing was, is our crowd never bothered about how the place looked. They were about the music.
On the floor.
And yeah, and I must tell you, man, by the time we had come to the base, I had to barter with the club owner at T-Zers. I don't even know famous breakdancer Ramon from POC, the double jointed cat from Prophets of the City. I'll show you a picture of him. Guess what? The two of us landed up working the door at T-Zers. And a friend of mine had to come and tell me that I actually invented that crowd selecting process. You know that when somebody, you sit in the movies, man, the person standing with a clipboard, you can come in, you can come in, you can. I started that shit at T-Zers.
Why?
Guess what happened, man? Like I said to you, matinees were like dangerous shit. So a lot of that youth, that gangster youth, came to T-Zers, and we needed to get rid of them. The white bouncer, the Chinese owner, they never knew what to do, but we were from the hood. So we had to turn around and say that grasshoppers not going to get you in this club. That Nevada pants, that Pringles shirt, that town talk, that heavy Italian shirt, we don't want that here. This is a punk club. A lot of hip-hoppers today, older hip-hoppers, will tell you that the only way they could get into T-Zers was now to become punks or to become b-boys.
Rock Adidas.
Yeah, you had to rock. Other than Grasshoppers, Crocodile Jones, Nevada, you couldn't look like the other clubs. So that's how people came into T-Zers. So, like I'm saying, I would then need to work the door. And then I won't lie to you, without even knowing it, none of us, it probably took me 12 years. The place was already closed. I had moved to Joburg. Then it only clicked to me in my head what myself and Ramon, well, more me because Ramon only did it for a short while. What we did was is we made those youth feel safe inside. And what happened was is they could now express themselves freely. Because you know what used to happen at T-Zers when the gangster crowd was there? Now there's a circle. You know, and then these gangsters will come in there. Then they stop the circle now. They stop the energy. They would rob the kids. It was terrible. It was terrible. And to find out many years later, it was a friend of mine that brought them there. You know? But T-Zers, the bass, the music was now different. We were playing hip-hop and house music at T-Zers and the bass with reggae and all those other things, you know, like dance music, Pet Shop Boys, whatever. But then we were known as a hip-hop club, although we weren't a hip-hop club. It's just that we were the only club playing hip-hop. No other DJ wanted to touch the music. Yes, by then we knew now, by T-Zers we had known, you know, this is hip-hop, you know. And there's a hip-hop set. So the word spread like hellfire. And also when I was working, when we had now moved to the base. So you know that venue, no? Platinum Lounge. Platinum Lounge.
I hear about it. I don't know.
Okay. So Platinum Lounge is in Short Market Street, which the road goes up like that. No? So here was the base. And I would be working at that door.
The base is where Platinum Lounge is now.
Is now, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
exactly
yeah.
there.
Exact same spot, yeah. But what I'm trying to tell you was, is by 88 when we had moved there, we were at this 88, 89, 90. It was peak period of that place. Working at that door, right? So my set was at 3 o'clock, Llewellyn would play. Then I would play my set 3 o'clock till 4 o'clock, then Llewellyn takes over till closing 6 o'clock. That was the program. So while I'm not DJing, where did I have to be? At the door. And let me tell you something. That queue would stay for 2 hours. Queue. If you walked away from the door and stood on the other side of the road, then you're like, oh my gosh, here's the door. That queue is going till the robots and around like that. And then we started. So now I'm the doorman. You know, I had legendary status, man. I only find out these things. I think I only really discovered these things when I came back to Cape Town in 2000. When I met people who were now adults that used to be there, you know, that I had to stop already at the door, or I was DJing for them. So now you become friends with these guys and stuff like that. Like another friend of mine, Ansley, said, "Yo, Rozzano, yeah, I never knew who you were, but the people used to talk about you and your baseball bat and whatnot." And I was like, "Yo." You know, like even the rumors that weren't even true, it was like, wow, quite good for me, you know. But yes, we had shit at T-Zers already. Those gangsters.
Did you have a baseball bat?
Yeah.
And you hit people with it?
The Whole Boys. Listen to that weird name, the Whole Boys, the Bum Boys from Buka. They were nasty. They used to rob white people, colored people, black people. They robbed everybody. So when they knew about this madness, and they couldn't get in, then they would rob the kids at the bottom there by Green Market Square. As you come past Purple Turtle, it was known as Peabody's. The kids would get around, and we landed up fighting with them a lot. You know, lots. You also had to, you know, authority figures, so then baseball bats scared the shit out of everybody. But like I'm saying to you, working that door, then you were like, whoa, okay. Then guess what we discovered? Oh, and then you know what it was? There were no minibus taxis. So it was only trains. So Then we were shocked. Because once the club is out at 6, then this whole mass walks down to Grand Parade, get a chip roll, and that's how, and it was the hip hop community that popularized the Gatsby's and all that stuff. You know what I mean? So it's after the club, everybody puts a 2 and 3 rand together, you buy yourself something to eat, then from there to the station, third class. When you get to the station, that's when you realize, oh my gosh, because now you have the southern suburbs line. So people are traveling down to Wynberg, Lansdowne to go home. Then there's Cape Flats, Athlone side. People are traveling to Athlone, what's it, Glenhaven, wherever, you know. Then there's our line, the Mitchells Plain Kailicha line, because Kailicha never had a train line that time. So there was that. And then then the Kailicha line came, and then there was this Bishop Labour side. Yeah? And then there would be this Belleville, this one here, you know. And that's when I was shocked. Because this line here takes you down to like Wellington, Paul, and Strand. And next door to Strand is Gordons Bay. So you know what, my sister? People were traveling an hour and a half in the mornings to come to that matinee. Then we like, there's the clip from Strand. You're like, oh my God. You know, like, they took an hour and a half now to get it down. You know, like, then we were shocked. We were like, whoa. And I mean, it was just landlines and word of mouth, really, you know. And like I'm saying, by the time we were at the base, it was phenomenal now. The clothing, like I said to you. The people. Before Criss Cross had come out, you know, you had a tacky that was plain, right? You would now be throwing that swoosh on there. You will be putting those 3 stripes there because you couldn't afford it. Jeans, Cokies and pen and, you know, fabric ink were now used. This is my pants for the club on Saturday. So now that was, you know, the creative juices just flowed. Meaning, what tacky did you have on? What pants? You couldn't afford all that stuff. You needed to let it be unique. Do you understand what I'm saying? That had to be different to the next individual. And it was all about originality back then. You know, each person, each freestyle dancer, each b-boy had its own style, and people remembered you for that. If you had a name, I'll give you an example. There was a guy by the name of Monkey. We knew why his name was Monkey because of his face, but also there was something in his clothing or the way he danced. Do you understand? If you look at someone like Ramon's shoe size might have been 7 or 8, but why Mr. wore size 11 shoes? You know, it was now just his style. So by the time we were at T-Zers from 88, things blew up for us in a big way. But I mean, it was just amongst us, you know. Like, but I'm saying the energy and culture that was going on there